Salve omnes, welcome to this video lesson on third declension common nouns, masculine, feminine nouns. We're going to look at a couple examples, and this goes along with the LLPSI Chapter 9 unit. Okay, so we're looking first at pastor, and I am using my Conjunctor Nominum app here. So just to show you, that is ll.50webs.com/lat there. It's for Latin, some of my Latin apps. And so one of the first things you need to know when dealing with any noun declensions is your lexical entry for the noun. So a lexical entry, the lemma, it's sometimes called in a dictionary, goes nominative case, pastor is the nominative singular, and then genitive case, pastoris, and then the gender, which M period stands for masculine. Now, I need to fix that. Pastoris should have a long O. Let me fix that. Okay. So yeah, that is one thing to note here. Some nouns, the length of a vowel might change from the nominative stem when it goes into the stem in the genitive. And remember that the genitive case is where you get the stem for all of the other what are called oblique forms, forms that are not directly equal to the nominative. For example, the vocative is equal to the nominative, but genitive, dative, accusative, ablative, those are all made from the stem in the genitive case. Okay, so here I've got my lexical entry, pastor nominative, pastoris, notice the long mark change for the O in the genitive, and then M period for masculine. Right, now I can say decline now. Okay, there we go. So it has auto-detected this as a third declension masculine feminine noun and has declined it for us. Now, my song that I give for third declension goes Annie is E-M-A, Annie is E-M-A, Annie is E-M-A, common third declension, ace ibis ace ibis, ace ibis ace ibis, ace ibis ace ibis, that's a common plural. Now, what we have here, the any in the song, any is E-M-A, any stands for anything, right? So pastor is just what it happens to be. Some third declension nouns will end with R, some will end with X, some will end with L in the nominative. For example, sol, solus, sun, ends with L in the nominative. Lux, lucus, light, and nox, noctis, night, end with X in the nominative. So it's just anything, whatever it happens to be. And you will, of course, know that because it will be listed as the first form in the noun entry. So pastor is the any, and then it goes is-e-m-a. If you look down through, genitive, pastoris, dative, pastori, accusative, pastorem, ablative, pastore. And of course, the vocative, following the vocative rule, is the same as the nominative singular, so pastor again. And then in my song again, ace ibis ace ibis, ace ibis ace ibis, ace ibis ace ibis, that's a common plural. So common again means masculine, feminine. Look over to the plural side, pastores, pastorum, genitive plural, pastoribus, dative, pastores, accusative, pastoribus, ablative. Couple notes there. One, the dative and ablative plural rule. I like to point out those two cases are the same for virtually any Latin nouns. They usually end in "is" for first and second declension, or in "bus" in third and in fourth and in fifth declensions. So here we have the pastoribus. But those two cases are the same, dative and ablative plural. One thing that makes third declension different from first and second, which you learned earlier typically, is that the nominative and the accusative plural endings are the same. They're both ace, whereas first declension you get I and then os, second masculine you get E in the nominative plural and then os in the accusative plural. So this is a little bit different there. Again, following the vocative rule, pastores is repeated from the nominative. So there you go. So anytime you are practicing a third declension noun and you want to make sure you got it right, you could always enter the entry here and have Conjunctor Nominum check it for you. All right, we are now going to do a third declension I stem, masculine, feminine I stem. Now these usually end with either is, or maybe ace is, or One other type of I stem, let's look at these here. So these are the types of third masculine, feminine I stem nouns. There's the type like owis, owis, or kiwis, kiwis, where the nominative ends with is and the genitive ends with is. A kind of related subcategory of that would be words like kaides, kaitis, which means slaughter or murder. And essentially there you have ace and is. So very similar. The nominative looks quite like the genitive, but not exactly the same. And then the other type is the type that I've got listed first here, monosyllable double consonant stems. So mons, montis, which means mountain, ars, artis, which means art or skill, and nox, noctis, which means night. Those are examples there. And you'll notice that mons, ars, and nox, those are the nominative singular forms, are one syllable. That's what I mean by monosyllable. And then you will notice the underlined double consonant stem ending, mont with the nt, artis with the rt stem, and then noctis with the ct stem. So that is the other type. Okay, so those two types of masculine, feminine, or common I stems, and we are going to look specifically at owis here, which we get in Chapter 9 of LLPSI. So owis, again, the reason I know this is I stem is because the is in the nominative repeats also in the genitive, owis. All right, and then the F period for feminine, and if I say decline now, you will notice that it detects this as a third masculine, feminine I stem noun, and it has declined it correctly for us. Now, if you look through this, you will notice, if you are observant, that there's really only one form that is irregular, and that is ovium, right? So that one would have been ovum if this were just a normal third declension noun. It would have had just an ovum, but here it has ovium, so the genitive plural is eum. That is the only real change. Now you can get an ablative singular that ends with a long I. So instead of owe here, we could have had owe, and you do occasionally see that. There are some really crazy rare I stem nouns that will occasionally get an im in the accusative singular. For example, turis, which means tower. You might get turim with an im in the accusative singular, but that's really rare. Okay, so here, this is our I stem, and essentially, as I noted, it's all the same except for the eum genitive plural instead of the normal Well, I hope that helps you with your declining of third declension masculine, feminine, or common nouns. And remember, you can always go back to this website to check it out. And make sure you're declining a noun correctly. As long as you enter the lexical entry correctly into this first field up here, then you're going to be able to do that. All right. Vale, omnes.